PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here, it's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Hello, my darlings. Did you miss me? This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Platinum Rose's Garden for Saturday, October 14th, 2017. Oh boy. Gosh, I did miss you guys. I hope everybody had a great summer, and starting into fall. We're in fall now. My summer was pretty okay, other than missing the show and missing you guys. Of course, I had other things to occupy my summer. I'm sure you did too. Going to the movies. Lots of movies. Not as many as last year, but, we've seen a lot of really good movies over the summer. I have to bring, this is just, I don't know if this happens to anybody else or if it's just me. I never go to the movies intending to cry because nobody needs to see that because I'm not a pretty crier. It's confessions time early here on the show, I guess. I am not a pretty crier. Unlike Jensen Ackles, who can do the single perfect man tear thing and does it really, really well. I am not a pretty crier by any stretch of the imagination, and if I get really going, it's bad. It's bad. You know, big gasping breaths and stuff like that, and you know, but I try to keep it to myself. I can't always do that. I did have a very bad incident that happened during, I apparently frightened a little kid during March of the Penguins and also almost cried myself into a hyperventilation attack. But this summer, it was like every single movie we went to, I was like, oh, awesome movie. And by the end of the movie, I'm totally crying. Wonder Woman ended in tears. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 ended in tears. The new Pirates of the Caribbean movie ended in tears. Every single time. I have to say, I think the best movie of the summer, without a doubt, was Wonder Woman. Such a great movie. So awesome. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She really looks like she just literally stepped off the pages of the comic book. And she was so amazing and wonderful. And I can't say enough amazing stuff about her because I just think she's so awesome and cool. Obviously, there's things looking forward to, you know, movies always keep going forward and there's always stuff to look forward to. And definitely, for me, there are 2 movies I'm really looking forward to coming up this, in fall and winter. I'm looking forward to the Justice League movie a lot. You know, I really liked I liked Batman versus Superman. I know some people are going to be like, gasp, but I did. I liked it. I thought it was better than other people did, I guess. And I really want to see, Justice League. There's 2 reasons I really want to see Justice League. Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller. There, I said it. I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge me. Sorry. I am an enormous fan of Ezra. Ezra is an incredible actor who has been in some fantastic movies like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is an incredible film that didn't get enough Didn't get enough love at the box office. If you've never seen Perks of Being a Wallflower, please check it out because it's an amazing film. We need to talk about Kevin. Yes, that's where they got the title for the Supernatural episode from a few seasons back, you bright kids. He's just amazing and wonderful, and I can't wait to see his take as the Flash. It's going to be really awesome. And Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Holy crap. I mean, wow. As somebody who grew up reading the comics, I was like, okay, this is a different look for Aquaman, and I like it. It's, whew. The other movie I'm looking forward to a lot, which should surprise absolutely nobody, who knows me, is, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. I am, I don't know how to word this. I am looking forward to it. I'm major friggin' wicked excited about it, and I'm also terrified. You have to understand, I have been a warsy since I was a very small child. I remember seeing Star Wars at the theater when, way back in the 70s, probably before some of you were alive. If that's the case, I don't want to hear it. And I just remember this sitting there and being like, oh my God, this is important. This is, oh my God, what is this? And just that kind of feeling. And it's been with me my whole life. And I loved The Force Awakens. I thought it was great. Even though it broke my heart. This movie, I have to be honest, I don't know what if people are like, oh my God, the trailer, I'm like, yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm like, I don't know why I won't watch it. I've been like, I can't watch this trailer. I don't know why. I'm like, I'm telling myself it's because I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want to know anything before the film comes out. I just want to go and see it and be amazed and pray that Luke doesn't turn dark side, because if that happens, I'm going to lock myself in the bathroom and never come out again. I've already warned my fella, if Luke turns dark side in this movie, you're going to have to hold my hair back while I go in the bathroom and cry till I throw up. So he's got that to look forward to. So yay. Okay. Obviously we have to talk about the show, the reason you're all here. So we have started season 13 of Supernatural, and I know that's why you're all here. So let's get to it.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Season 13, Episode 1 of Supernatural, Lost and Found. The episode kicks off with The Road So Far, which is set with the music of Metallica's Nothing Else Matters, which is one of the most awesome choices in the history of ever. We see everything from the previous season and a little further back, how we got to this point, the whole thing of the storyline of Kelly Klein and how she wound up having sex with the possessed president of the United States, who was the current meat suit for Lucifer, and how she wound up giving birth to a Nephilium, a child that's part human, part angel, since Lucifer is an archangel, the child that she was going to name Jack. And we saw the everything that happened in the last episode from season 12 all along the Watchtower, which was just death, heartbreak, and more death, culminating in the suicide of Crowley, finding out that there's an alternate universe where the Winchesters haven't saved the world and Earth is decimated from an angel-demon war where Bobby is still alive. And in our universe, Castiel winds up being murdered by Lucifer, and Lucifer and Mary fall into this crack in the universe and wind up in this alternate apocalypse world. And over in our universe, Kelly Klein gives birth to Jack and dies. At the end of the episode, we had Dean standing over Castiel's dead body. Kelly was dead, Mary is gone, and Sam is in the nursery in the cabin where Kelly and Castiel were staying. And he is staring at a naked young adult male with glowing golden eyes. And now we're at now. After we got the amazing, I have to skip that. Sorry about that. Now. We're back at now. And Sam is, you can tell Sam's trying to be as calm as possible, but you know inside his heart has to be doing, somersaults out of fear. Jack calls out to Sam and calls him father in this very questioning voice, while we cut to outside and see Dean standing over Castiel's dead body. Dean goes into the house as Sam's trying to talk to Jack and explain to him that he's not his father. Dean comes in the house. Sam calls out to him after Dean refers to Sam as Sammy on the way and when he gets in the house. Dean comes in the room, sees Sam, sees Jack, and then takes a shot at Jack in one of the, oh my God, what the fuck did you just do moments of the season so far. Jack, needless to say, is not happy about this fact. Dean didn't hit him. He hit the wall from the look of it. Jack makes this kind of a cry. It's like this sonic wave, kind of like Black Canary's sonic scream kind of a thing. Now, bear in mind, while all this is happening, Jack's eyes are still this golden yellow color. Not like a demon's where it's completely covering the eyes. It's just the color part that's yellow. And this force lifts Sam and Dean into the air. It's like being in a wind tunnel, like times a million. And Jack winds up throwing them against either, separate walls and they get knocked out. And then we get the opening title, which is this golden circle. It looks like Jack's eye. It's not exactly like an eye, but it's close enough. It's so cool. Major fucking kudos to you guys for that work. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Dean wakes up. We see him have what turns out to be a nightmare. The thing is, it starts off with what we saw outside at the end of last season with Castiel dead and Lucifer standing there with, gloating at Dean and Sam and Mary. Mary, who has brass knuckles on that are carved with Enochian symbols. She goes to run at Lucifer, but instead of what really happened, her and Lucifer falling into this crack in the universe, she rises up into the air and she starts bursting into flames, and then we see the whole, Mary on the ceiling burning thing again, and Dean snaps awake. He's hurt, Sam's hurt, and Jack is nowhere to be found. We see Dean and Sam go outside. They're still trying to figure out what's going on and where Jack has disappeared to, and wrap their minds around the fact that they know Crowley is dead, they know Castiel is dead, and they know their mother is gone, and Kelly's dead as well. Kelly died giving birth to Jack. We see Jack wandering through the woods near the cabin. He is nude. I won't. This is one time that I'm actually not going to comment on an attractive young man walking through the woods nude. I'm not that sleazy. I ain't touching that one. He hears a sound and he looks over at a building that has a figure outside of it. The building is a fast food place, your typical looking fast food joint, Pirate Pete's Jolly Treats. And they have a figure outside at their drive-through station that's a pirate that has the whole speaker, may I take your order kind of a deal. Inside the building are two young men. Clark, who is screwing around with the leaderboard, or whatever you call that thing, where they have the, the orders, what you can purchase at the restaurant. He's, typing in juvenile stuff, because he's not going to get in trouble for it, because his mother is in a relationship with his boss, so he doesn't have to worry about it, as he tells his coworker. They hear someone speaking through the microphone on the drive-through thing, and they look at the camera, and they see Jack standing outside naked. And they actually do the right thing. If you see something like that, they call the police, which makes sense, because it turns out the Sheriff Christine Barker, is Clark's mom. We cut back to the Impala, and the Winchesters, besides both obviously being in physical pain, are both snapping at each other. Sam is trying to figure out how they should deal with Jack in a not kill him way, and Dean ain't having one single solitary bit of it. Dean feels like that they just have to kill Jack. That's all they need to do. And then, he goes through this whole litany of loss while they're talking about what happened, talking about how, Crowley's gone, Kelly's gone, and at first he can't even say that Cass is gone. He just says Cass is, and then jumps right to Mom's gone. It just breaks your heart when you hear the pain in his voice, and how he can't even bring himself to say that Castiel is dead. It just really rips you to pieces. And he even sounds sorry Crowley's gone, which is truly an odd feeling. The sheriff shows up, and she's trying not to spook this young man who's naked. And he just kind of looks at her, and he kind of smiles. I mean, it's not an evil smile. It's not a weird smile. It's just sort of a, oh, hello, nice person kind of smile. There's nothing menacing about it. There's nothing menacing about this person. There just isn't. I mean, if you didn't know that his father was Lucifer, you'd be like, okay, so you're, he doesn't give off a vibe of death, destruction, mayhem, terror, blah, blah, etc., etc. Even in spite of what happened with Sam and Dean, but you'd be pissed too if somebody took a shot at you right after you were born. We cut back to the cabin, and Castiel's body has been, Dean obviously brought Cass's, I'm assuming Dean and Sam brought Cass's body inside and covered it with a sheet. And Cass's body is found by a pair of angels, male and female pair of angels, Lily and Conrad, respectively. Lily makes a remark that about Kelly's body being upstairs, and Conrad dismisses that, calling her a broodmare. Rude. Back at the police station, Jack, who now has clothes, thankfully, although it is, don't hit me, it's kind of adorable watching him process the fact that he's now wearing clothes, and especially the fact that he's now wearing shoes. He's kind of looking down at the shoes like, why do I have to have these on my feet? I don't know. I just thought it was adorable. Sue me. I can't help it. The sheriff, as it turns out, Sheriff Christine, she's a pretty nice lady from the look of it. Sheriff Barker is very nice. She talks to him very, patiently. She doesn't lose her patience with him. I think she thinks he's either on a very bad trip, possibly had an accident and has amnesia, or maybe is mentally ill. She seems to be kind of vacillating between those three things, but she's very kind to him. She asks him some questions, asks him his name, which he does know his name is Jack, so there's that. He doesn't know his last name. I don't think he has one. I mean, I'm assuming his last name would be Klein. I'm guessing. I'm not sure. I don't know. But when she asks about his parents, she says, Jack says that his mother is in heaven. So he knows his mother is dead, which is sad, obviously. And he knows that his father, he tells her, sorry, sip of water. He tells her that his father isn't here, that he's supposed to be here, but he's not. And she asks what else he remembers, and he remembers the bad woman burning and the universe screaming. And that's hearkening back to the episode The Future, where even when he was still in utero, he was protecting his mother and wound up killing the Prince of Hell, Dagon, by burning Dagon alive. Dagon was in the body of a woman at the time. The sheriff goes off to do some more checking, trying to figure out what is this person's deal, leaving Jack with her son Clark. And Clark's a bit of a goof off, but he doesn't seem like a bad person. He seems quite nice. And Clark and Jack start talking. Clark is of the opinion that Jack is high. Very, very high. But it turns out, obviously, we know that he's not. But as they're talking, Jack does figure out that he is something, that what he is hungry. Sam and Dean stop at the local fast food place, the same place that Jack was at earlier, Pirate Pete's. Although Dean's very skeptical they'll find anything about Jack there. But Sam's whole thing is we haven't passed him on the road. He probably had to stop somewhere. Sam goes into the fast food place to ask some questions while Dean says that he's going to call Jody. Sam goes in. There's already a person in there harassing the other guy that was left, the other worker. This young woman keeps demanding fries, and she sounds like she's really, really wasted. We do find out, at least from the research I did, her name is Miriam. As Sam asks the other worker some questions, Miriam tends to throw in a little remark here and there. And Sam gets on the phone, pulls out the FBI card on the phone, calling Sheriff Barker and talking to her. And he talks to her and asks her, do they have this young man, did a young naked man show up at their, in their vicinity? And she tells him yes. As she's talking to Sam, she tells him that they should talk about this in person. Earlier on, when she was talking to Jack, she asked him to give her a fingerprint sample so she could put it in the FBI database and see if maybe he's in there. Possibly, obviously, she's thinking he might be a missing person or something to that idea. Good plan, Sheriff. The thing is, Sheriff Barker is more than a little disturbed by what she sees when the print appears on the screen. There's no fingerprint. It's just a bunch of straight lines. Yeah, that would weird me out. I don't think that happens in nature. I don't know. I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but I'd freak out too. We cut back to outside and Dean, who has apparently done something to his hand, probably rage punched something because now one of his hands, the knuckles are all bloody and completely, it's a mess. He obviously punched something. And he's dealing with Miriam, who is now outside rambling at him, talking about how she had this college roommate named Becky who was, selfish and broke things and pissed people off and etc. and so on and so forth, and that she dealt with her by punching a wall and burning all of her belongings. Sam comes back out and gets in the car, and they wind up leaving, and Miriam's still just standing there by the side of the road. At the police station, The sheriff's in her office, and all of a sudden the lights start flickering on and off, and not in a oh, the bulb needs to get changed kind of a way. In the there's something friggin' weird happening kind of way. You know, we all know what that means, being Supernatural fans, right? Don't we? She gets up, starts checking the police station, which is way too quiet now. I mean, it wasn't exactly a bustling area of activity before. I mean, this is like North Cove, Washington. It's not, you know, downtown New York or whatever. And she hears voices and what sounds like laughter. I heard a little laugh in there. And she walks into one of the rooms, and she finds Clark and Jack sitting on the floor in front of a vending machine, and there's 3 or 4 candy wrappers and other, you know, junk food wrappers on the floor. And Clark just turns around and gives his mom a smile and tells her that they needed to get something to eat. Jack was hungry. He also speculates that Jack's never had candy before. Jack turns and looks up at her. He's got this big smile on his face and says how he likes nougat. And I just went, oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Why is this kid stirring maternal thoughts in me? It's aggravating. I'm about as maternal as a lamppost. And this kid has me being like, oh, come here. I want to, like, you know, clean your face and make you feel all better and make it okay. You poor kid. You have no idea what's coming. The thing is, the Clark's like, oh, watch what he can do. Watch this. And Jack gets up and touches the vending machine, and all of a sudden the candy just starts falling right out of the thing. And none of it gets caught. You know how the thing happens when you do a vending machine and, like, the candy comes rolling out of the thing and then it stops? And you have to, like, shake the vending machine like crazy and hope to God nobody saw you do it. Jack can just make it just go plop and drop and like that. I'm like, well, that's useful. All of a sudden there's this kind of really high-pierced noise, and Jack reacts to it very badly. He starts, kind of, almost curling in on himself in pain. And when the sheriff tries to touch him to tell him it's okay, she gets hurt. He, throws her away from him using his power, which he didn't mean to do, I don't think. He runs out of the room and runs to the front of the building, and by now his eyes are glowing that yellow color, that golden color again. He finds Dean in the main office, and before he can do anything to Dean, or before Dean can do anything to him, don't hate me, all the Dean girls, Sam tases him in the back and knocks him out. As they're both standing there trying to figure out what should happen, although Dean's standing there, Sam's kind of kneeling down trying to make sure that Jack's okay. The sheriff comes up behind them with her gun drawn, because, you've got these two big guys, and now Jack's unconscious on the floor. Sam winds up in a cell, and Dean's in handcuffs with the sheriff, and Dean tells her the truth. Tells her everything. Tells her his real name, tells her that Sam is his brother, and that he and Sam hunt monsters. And when the sheriff asks if he's some kind of a superhero, Dean's response of, I'm just a guy doing a job. I was like, oh, honey bunny, you're so much more than that. Why do you do that to yourself? I know I'm a Samazon, and I admit it. I'm a complete Samazon, but there's just sometimes, Dean, I just want to hug you. I just want to, hug you and hug you and hug you and hug all the hurt out. I do. I can't help it. We find out that Jack is in the cell with Sam, and Jack's much calmer now because the sound has stopped. The thing is, what we perceived as a sound, which I have to be honest, was really fucking hurting my ears. Really fucking bad. I have super insanely sensitive hearing. High-pitched noises drive me batshit. I can't deal. Jack explains the noises he was hearing. He wasn't hearing it just as a noise. He was hearing it as loud, angry voices. obviously angel voices. You got to wonder what they were saying. Were they accusing him? Were they threatening him? We don't know. Jack tells Sam that he says, I'm sorry. And he asks Sam to tell the others that he's sorry to them too. And I'm kind of wondering, who he feels like he should say sorry to. I mean, is he saying that sorry to Sam and Dean for the whole thing that happened back at the house? Is he saying sorry for tossing the sheriff away? Is he saying sorry, Mom, my birth caused you to get killed? That kind of thing. I don't know who maybe he's saying all of those things with that I'm sorry. But it was so simple and so honest and pure, and damn if my maternal thing didn't flare up again. I mean, I don't know what you're doing to me, Jack. I don't know. Sam, needless to say, wants some answers, as do the rest of us, like why you're speaking English and why you're 20-something when you were born less than a day before. Jack explains that he learned English from his mother. His mother taught him. And this kid is so lost. Oh my gosh, he's so lost. He's breaking my heart. Jack remembers opening the portal that was the crack between worlds, for lack of a better word. The problem is he doesn't know how he did it. I mean, he was in utero. You got to give him a break. And he also doesn't know how to do it again. When he and Sam are talking about the fact that Jack feels like he needs to find his father, that his father will protect him, the look on Sam's face is, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And he tells him that he has to listen, that what Lucifer does not qualify as protecting under any definition of the term protection. Jack turns and looks at him and is like, Lucifer? No, that's not his name. My father is Castiel. And Sam's what? Pretty much echoes everybody in the entire friggin' universe watching this episode. I think it was kind of a joint what. Jack explains that his mother, Kelly, told him that Castiel would keep him safe. She also told him that the world was dangerous and that he couldn't be a helpless baby or a child who could be kidnapped or exploited or whatever, that he had to grow up quickly. And that's why he chose Castiel to be his father, and that's also why he's 20-something years old and not an infant. And now Sam has to do the really, really difficult thing and explain to Jack that Castiel is dead. And the look in Jack's eye, well, first of all, the look in Sam's eyes when he has to actually form those words and tell and say it out loud and hear it in his own ears that Castiel is dead. You can tell that really hurt him. And the look in Jack's eyes is like this kind of almost, that's not possible, what do I do now, I'm really adrift kind of a thing. And gosh darn it if them maternal instincts didn't start up again. I'm like, oh, come here, you poor little thing, let me hug you, please. We see Clark outside having a smoke of something. Maybe tobacco, maybe not tobacco. I'm not touching that, and I'm not judging. The thing is, he's not alone. The girl from the fast food place, Miriam, is there, along with the two angels that were searching the cabin before. Yep, Miriam's an angel. We see Dean go to the cell to get, I'm assuming to get Sam and Cass out and obviously he's like, we'll get you out and take Jack someplace quiet to kill him. Sam is not on board with this at all and tells Dean that Jack isn't evil and that they need him. obviously Sam's of the opinion if they can figure out how to get Jack to open this portal again, maybe they can get their mom out. Maybe mom is still alive on that other Earth. And oh, by the way, he's just a kid and doesn't seem to be his father's son. To which Dean is pretty much like, fuck you, fuck that, we're gonna fucking kill him, you know, without actually using all the F-bombs. When there's a shout from, what sounds like, it's a faint shout, but it's loud enough that Dean and Sam can hear it. Clark yelling for help. Dean and the sheriff run to the sound and find Clark as a hostage of Miriam. She's standing behind him holding her angel blade to his throat. The sheriff, understandably, pulls her gun out, but Dean tells her it won't do any good. And Miriam says that, Dean tells Miriam to let Clark go, and Miriam says she will if the sheriff shoots Dean. She tells the sheriff she doesn't know what Dean has told her, that, you know, there's some kind of, you know, he and Sam are some kind of heroes. She tells the sheriff and Dean that he's not a hero, that he is Becky. Becky was the name that Miriam gave to the roommate that she was talking about with Dean in the parking lot of Jolly Pete's. This roommate that was selfish and broke things and just did what they wanted. And also calls Dean a giant super bitch. And to that effect, I can say that Miriam is a giant super... I'm actually not going to use that word. I mean, this show is not safe for work. I'm not going to use it, though, but it has 4 letters, starts with C, ends with T, and has an unt in the middle. So, there it is. I also found it really interesting that they used Becky as a name, since, you know, so many Supernatural fans react to the name Becky the way most Warsies react to the name Jar Jar Binks. You know who you are. While this is all going on, the other angels rip the door off of the cell and attack Sam and Jack. The female angel attacking Jack, and the male angel trying to basically beat Sam to death from the look of it. When the sheriff is pretty much not going to shoot Dean, Miriam stabs Clark, what looks like in the stomach or the side. And during a fight between Miriam and Dean while this attack is going on in the jail cell, Miriam manages to get her angel blade taken away from her by Dean, who holds it to her throat, and finds out from her as this is happening why the angels want Jack. It turns out the angels don't want to kill Jack, at least not right away. She tells Dean that Jack can do anything. When Dean kind of hesitates, she mocks him, tells him almost anything, that Castiel is well and truly dead, and manages to headbutt him and get away. In the cell, things are not going well for Sam at all, but it turns out they're going better than it's going to go for the angels in a second, because before the angels can hurt Jack, they leave Sam alone. They both approach Jack to take him. They're almost out the cell door. All of a sudden, Sam yells out, "Hey!" The angels both turn around, and Sam has made an angel banishing sigil on the floor of the cell in his own blood, slams his hand into it, and the angels disappear, leaving behind their angel blade. And that's why Sam fucking Winchester is not somebody you should mess with, because Sam is fucking brilliant. Clever, clever lad. Miriam makes it to the back of, to the jail, to the cell, and, Sam and Dean have her, in between the two of them, but she's still got her angel blade. And when Sam and Dean make it obvious she's not going to get out of there with Jack, she gives one of these if we can't have him, nobody can kind of lines, and stabs Jack it looks more like in the chest than the stomach. And Sam runs forward and stabs Miriam with the remaining angel blade, and Miriam dies. The thing is, Jack has been, stabbed, and then pulls the angel blade out of his chest. It is covered with blood. There is blood on Jack's shirt, but he's not dead. Not even close to dead. Not even inconvenienced from the look of it. And he looks at Sam and Dean and says that he's fine. And he looks about as confused. The fact that he is fine seems to be confusing him as much as it's confusing Sam and Dean, because if you could get both the looks on Sam and Dean's face, that would be the look that you would see if you looked in the dictionary under the phrase WTF. It's pretty much their look. And we have a commercial. We cut back. Clark is being taken away in an ambulance by EMTs with his mom. So obviously, apparently Miriam didn't pierce any vital organs, and Clark's not bleeding to death because his mother did manage to slow the bleeding down. As the Winchesters look on, and Jack looks on as well, he's sitting further away from them. Sam and Dean are sitting on baby's hood. Sam says that they should take Jack back to the bunker and starts to think that Dean's going to protest this, probably quite loudly. Dean agrees with him, which surprises the hell out of Sam and surprised the hell out of me, to be honest with you. Dean's whole thing is that they can't let him out of their sight. He doesn't trust Jack by any stretch of the imagination because of the fact that Jack is the son of Lucifer. He's just convinced that sooner or later Jack is going to go bad. But he does tell Sam, at least talking about bringing him back to the Batcave, at least they're the only people he can hurt are you and me. I'm like, damn. But before they go back to the Batcave, it's a hell of a long drive from Washington to Kansas, we get the part of the episode that just tore me to bits. They go back to the cabin where Kelly and Cass were staying and where Jack was born. And we find out, before they go in, we find out why Dean's hand was all bloody. When Sam brings up that, there's got to be a way they can bring Castiel back, he mentions calling out to God, calling out to Chuck, praying, and Sam finds out from Dean that he already did. When they were back at Jolly Pete's and Sam was inside questioning the worker there, Dean walked around to the back and prayed to Chuck or God or whoever he wanted to be called, and it was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever heard. Saying, God left them again. God said that the earth would be okay because it had Sam and it had Dean, but it's not okay. And he says, it's not, and we're not. We've lost everything. He tells God to bring Cass back, to bring Mary home from wherever she is. He even asks God to bring Crowley back. And at the end of it all, he says, please help us. And the pain and the unshed tears and the hurt in Dean's voice is just so palpable and so moving. And if this does not win Jensen Ackles an Emmy, there is no justice in the universe. And nothing. No response from God. Nothing. And Dean turns and starts punching a wooden sign on the door of the restaurant so hard that he smashes it to pieces, and that's how he bloodied his hand. Dean tells Sam, back in the present, Dean tells Sam God isn't listening and that God doesn't care. I really don't want to believe that's true. They go inside the house. Sam and Jack go up to the room where Kelly's body is. It's been covered by a sheet, and Jack gently touches her dead body, and I mean, there's pain in his eyes and loss and like so much hurt. I mean, real hurt. Dean comes into the room where Castiello's body is laying on a table with a sheet over it, and he takes the sheet back and looks at Cass's face. Then goes and takes some of the curtains down to wrap the body up. Sam, Dean, and Jack are outside watching the bodies as Dean sets the funeral pyre has been set up for them for a hunter's funeral, and Dean's dousing it with gasoline. And Jack looks so like this isn't the way it's supposed to be. And Sam asks him if he wants to say anything. And when Jack asks, what do you say? What are you supposed to say? Sam tells him that you're supposed to say thank you and to tell them you're sorry and that you hope that wherever the people you've lost are, wherever they are, that they're somewhere where they're at peace, and that you say goodbye. And Dean lights the pyre, and Sam and Dean and Jack stand there in silence and watch the bodies burn and watch the smoke rise. And then we're somewhere else, somewhere bad. We are on the other Earth, the apocalypse Earth, the Earth where Sam and Dean were never born, and this war has been raging for years between demons and angels, and humanity's in the middle and being ground into dust. And we see Mary, who is still alive and running. Even back on our Earth, Dean told Sam that their mother was probably dead over in the other universe, that Lucifer probably killed her immediately once he realized he was trapped over there with her. But it turns out, as of right now, Mary is not dead. She is just running. But she gets caught very quickly by Lucifer. And when she asks if Lucifer is going to kill her after he slaps her around a little bit, because he's the devil and kind of an asshole that way, she asks if he's going to kill her, and he tells her that he might, or he might not. He says, maybe I need you. And the episode ends. Wow. Holy crap. What a way to kick off a season. Lost and Found gets 5 bouquets out of 5 from me. Absolutely incredible episode. So moving. Such incredible acting from everybody involved. Absolutely loved it. I want to give a really big, warm welcome to who I believe is going to be the newest member of the cast for quite a bit of time, and that is Alexander Calvert, who is Jack. Wow. You are really, really an amazing young actor, Alexander, and I'm really happy that you're part of the show. I'm really happy that you've joined our happy, demented little family. I don't know how else to word it, other than to say, welcome to the tribe. I think you're a really amazing addition to the cast, and I hope you'll be around for a while, and I hope we don't scare you off because we're kind of a wacky bunch. Oh wow, I can't say enough amazing things about this episode. 5 bouquets out of 5. Jared and Jensen, as always, just you guys never fail to amaze me. This episode, if this is an indication of the way the rest of this season is going to go, writing-wise, Oh my gosh. I mean, by the end of this episode, I was shaking. I was literally shaking. My hands were shaking. I was just like, wow. Next week we are back with another episode, The Rising Sun, as we see more of what's going on with Sam and Dean trying to figure out how to deal with Jack, how to help Jack deal with himself and everything around him. And I personally cannot wait. I cannot wait for next week's episode. I want it to air now. It was so amazing. This is going to be such an incredible season. Okay, couple of things before I go, cats and kittens. I hope you enjoyed my first foray into season 13. I would love to hear your opinion on it, what you thought of the first episode of season 13. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you meh about it? If you could send that to platinumroselle@yahoo.com, put PRG in the header, and I will know you want me to read it on the air. If you'd just like to drop me a note and say, hey, if you like the show, if you have any opinions that anything I could do better or anything like that, same address, platinumroselle@yahoo.com. I will definitely read it. And I hope you will check out the other shows that are part of our little family here. There's Subject Cinema, which is the movie podcast that TC and I do. My dear, sweet, long-suffering hubby, TC Kirkham, who is a great person, incredibly patient, and puts up with me and all of my weirdness. And you can listen to that over at subjectcinema.com. We are doing Screen Screams this month for Halloween. This is my favoriteest time of the year. TC also has a show that is just his. He has a show called Catastrophe Vortex, which, if you happen to be a fan of the disaster movie genre, I hope you will check it out. It's every other week over at catastrophevortex.com. He does a great job. He is a disaster movie junkie. So if you like stories about stuff that falls down, floods, or goes boom, definitely go check out his site and the show. It's a lot of fun. If you're into comics, we have Comic Grotto with Aunt Bee and Pee-wee. And also Cavebabble, which is the Lion family, some of our friends that have their own podcast. Everybody's really great and fun, and I hope you'll check us all out. If you'd like to check me out over on Twitter, I'm platinumroselle@twitter.com. I also have some fanfic out there. If you'd like to check it out over at fanfiction.net, you can go to, as I mentioned, fanfiction.net and check out, look for me in the search engine under author Platinum Rose Lady. I have a whole bunch of stuff over there. Hopefully I will have some more if my writer's block ever decides to clear up. Getting back to some supernatural news, because goodness knows we can't ever have enough of that. I want to bring up a couple of things. Now, obviously, with Supernatural coming back for the season, there's been tons and tons of stuff out there. There are 2 editions of Entertainment Weekly. One of them is all about Supernatural, and their Halloween issue have 3 separate covers for Supernatural. So you definitely want to check those out. And if you get your hot little paws on them, I'm sure they'll be great adds to your collection. Jared Padalecki was on Jimmy Kimmel's talk show on Thursday night. I hope everybody got to watch it. If you didn't, I'm sure it's up on YouTube right now. Jared was his usual adorable, charming, wonderful self. And if you are a reader of IndieWire magazine, online magazine, which my hubby sure is, follower of film that he is, they had 2 interviews with Jared, one of them about season 13 in general, and also about another interview that was talking about the upcoming episode in season 13 that is crossing Supernatural with Scooby-Doo. Somebody hold me. I'm very, very frightened. And there are going to be links in the show notes. So if you haven't checked out those articles yet, you hopefully will go do so. And if you do that, I hope you'll tell them that you heard about them here on Platinum Rose's Garden. So, this is first start of season 13, and what a long, strange trip it looks like it's going to be, to quote somebody else, because I'm not that clever. So I hope you guys have a great week out there. Make sure you hug the ones you love the ones you hug. Take some time to stop and smell the roses. This is Platinum Rose Lady, and I am out. Bye-bye.
podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.